Okay, well, welcome to Drobots. In this session, we will actually show how you load up data into Drobots. Very important. The steps are actually rather straightforward. What you do is you define your project, you give it a name, you define the variables, so the questions and the values for those questions, and then you define the measurement model, so the data architecture, and then finally you push on the button to upload the data. This example will be used based on a case with 6 variables, actually 4 ordinal questions. Those have codes 1 to 5, 5 meaning totally agree with the statement, 1 meaning totally disagree. The 2 nominal variables are age group, or age cat as it is called in the file, and the Nielsen area. You look at age cat, you see the lowest value is 1 meaning 18 to 30 years old, and the fourth one is 65 plus years old. And Nielsen is code 1 means Nielsen area 1 up to 5 meaning Nielsen area 5. What do you need? Well, you have to respect a number of principles. First of all, your data has to be ready in an Excel format, recent Excel format, and in this case this is the file that we will use. So this is the file that will be uploaded into the system after the definition of the information that is in the file. You will notice that we have a column A, and it should contain an IDNR variable, so identification number variable, with respondent code from 1 to the total number of cases. In this case it goes up to 200 because in this demo we have 200 cases available for analysis. And what also important is that the nominal variables, the categorical variables, they start with values 1. The ordinal questions are coded with high values, meaning high positive attitudes. And very important, if you have a measurement model, then you have it. You need it available because you have to use the data architecture to tell to Drobots how these questions are related together. In this case, this is the model that we have. We have 6 yellow rectangles. These are the observed variables, and they correspond to the 6 variables you have here in the data file. What we will do is we will use 4 out of those 6 variables 2 by 2 because we want to combine integrity 1 and integrity 2 into a facet called integrity, and to combine customer orientation 1 and customer orientation 2 into a facet customer orientation. Those are correlated, and these 2 facets will be combined into a single concept. In this case you can treat it as an index, customer perception index, while the 2 remaining nominal or split variables are used to see if the model that you have in the middle is really influenced in terms of age and Nielsen zone. This is what we will upload in the system. Okay, let's go to the software now. What you have to do is to define a project in the survey setup area, and in this case we will define a new project, and the project could be labeled Drobots demo, and the question name is again the same, so it's questionnaire demo, for instance, and it's in English, so the language code is English. If you submit it, then we can really start. So we have to now define where the variables are and what the labels are and so on. This is done in the questionnaire area, and you will see we will start with a blank database. This is obvious because it's a new project, so you have to define the labels, and you have to be very careful because these have to be exactly the same ones as you have in your Excel file. I mean, this is why I will copy them to make sure that I don't make any mistake at all. And in this case it's about integrity. For instance, could be that company can be trusted. I already have it in my cache, and it's an ordinal variable, and I don't have any ordinal answer categories defined, so I have to define in this case a question code. For instance, it's about 5-point Likert scales. I could call it Likert 5-point scale, for instance, and the answer value is the first one. It's totally disagree, and it corresponds to value 1. Okay, so I can submit that into the database, and then from there on I have to add the other ones. Okay, I have to add a new answer category. In this case it's disagree, and it corresponds with value 2, and I have to submit it. Okay, I have the third one, which is a neutral or in between kind of answer category, neutral for instance, and this is value 3. I submit it into the database. I now have the agree statement, and this corresponds to value 4. I submit it, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the last one, it's totally agree, and in this case it's value 5 that needs to be put into the system. And let me check: totally disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, and totally agree. I can click on finish because I'm through this stage. Now I have to tell the system that this company can be trusted is an ordinal variable with Likert 5-point scale as the values answer category, and I have to submit it. And from there on I can speed it up because I can add easily new variables to the system. So I will copy it from my spreadsheet. It's integrity 2 in this case. So here I go, I put it into the system. For instance, this company is honest, for instance. I have already it in my system. It's also an ordinal Likert 5-point scale, and then the other one, let me see that I don't make any typos here, is customer orientation 1, and could be like this company is listens to customers, for instance. I submit it, and then I have the last one, which is let me check, customer orientation 2. Okay, and then it's about this company is open-minded, why not, and then I am through. So I have the 4 variables here. Then I have to add age category. Question code in the data file is hcat, so make sure that you copy it properly. And then the question phrase is, for instance, age group. Okay, this is a nominal variable because we'll use it as a split variable. I don't have any answer categories yet, but could be like age codes, for instance. And remember, in the PowerPoint, the first one corresponds to the first value 1 corresponds to the first category. In this case, it's 18 up till 30 years old. I already have it in my system from previous exercises. I do the submit, and then I have the second category. You will remember, starting at 31 goes up to 50 in this case. Then you have the third category. Okay, this is internet speed. Okay, the next one is 51 up to 65, and then it's the last one for age code, and here we go. It's 65 plus, as you will remember. Okay, I have all 4 of them. Let me check. Yes, so I can finish again this loop and go back to the definition of age group as a nominal variable using age codes as the answer category. I do the submit, and I have one more variable to add to the system, and this then is about the Nielsen area. And here we go, this is the Nielsen area, and the question phrase are, for instance, Nielsen, doesn't matter, Nielsen zones, Nielsen zone. Okay, it's again nominal because it's purely categorical, and I don't have the answer category yet, so I have to define it properly. And I have 5 Nielsen zones in Belgium, and this will be called Nielsen codes. It's just for the database purpose, and the value code is, for instance, value 1 means Nielsen area 1. Okay, alright, and then I have the second one is Nielsen area 2. Nielsen area 2 corresponds to value 2 in the database. Okay, I have the third one now, which is Nielsen area number 3. And then I have the next one, which is Nielsen area 4. Okay, Nielsen area. Okay, and I then have the very last one, Nielsen area 5. I submit it, and then I'm through this stage again. Let me check. Alright, I click on finish, and from there on it's Nielsen zone, Nielsen in the Excel file, nominal with Nielsen codes. I can submit this, and for this stage I am completely through, so this is what I have, and it corresponds to my Excel file. Now for the model part, you have to keep in mind that we have a data model, this one, and you have to really bring it into Drobots. Now let's start with this. You have to first of all link the questions to the facets, and we don't have any facets available, so we will call the first facet, actually it's facet facet 1 for the database purposes, and in this case you have to be sure that you use integrity for name, in this case integrity, for instance, you create it, and in this case it's 2 items that have to be linked, and these 2 items actually constitute the integrity facet. If you click on the ones that are not linked yet, then you have the ones remaining that are unused for the moment. The next facet will be facet number 2. Okay, facet 2 for instance, and in this case it's about customer orientation. Customer orientation, you create it, and is that these 2 will be linked to customer orientation. You have to select, of course, customer orientation, and there you go. So we are through here as well. The next stage is that we link both facets to the concepts. In this case we only have one concept. It's actually concept code, for instance concept 1, and if you look in the graphic, it's customer perception index. Let's call it customer perception index short. You create it, and then you link those 2 facets, and okay, we are done here. This is okay, facet 1, 2, and then you have to label your project in terms of the fact that you have to link the concepts to a topic. In this case you could say, okay, it's a new research topic, it's about, in the database it doesn't matter, but it's about customer perception index project, for instance, and the topic is customer perception index data, for instance, and you create it, and then you link the one and only concept that you have to this information topic, and then you click on create, and then you are done. If you now click on the model, what you see is that you actually have a full view of what's going on in the system. This is actually what you want. Now let's go for the real data load. The best thing to do is to close the Excel sheet, because it might interfere, and then you upload your data. You call your project, it's a new survey, and what you do is you say this is demo CPI, for instance. You submit it, and you now look for the proper place where your project data is available, and in this case it's this one. Now you have it ready, and now you click on update, and now the system will check everything, do the data load, and as you will see, the bar will tell you how far you are in the process. Might take a couple of minutes depending on the complexity of your project, and also of course on the internet server that you use, but in this case it moves on steady. I think we are almost there, and if we are in 100%, we know that everything is okay, and from there on you can close actually the survey setup, and you can continue to survey analyzer, and you can now use Drobots to analyze the data.